welcome to more of this game. Let me bring it up. Yahoo! So, since the last time I played, The Great Ace Attorney, also known as Daigakuten Saiban, came out with its, like, official English localization. So I've been playing that, and I'm curious to see if being, like, in the tank with an Ace Attorney I haven't seen will make me play Ace Attorney better. Because the thing about, at least for me, Ace Attorney is, like, I know how all of the trials end, so trying to, like, logic out what they want me to do is actually kind of hard, which is why I have to rely on the walkthrough so much. But maybe The Great Ace Attorney made me a great Ace Attorney, or maybe it made me shit, and I will still be shit. We'll see. Let's go. I'm immediately gonna turn the volume down a little bit. That's probably, like, way too loud. Okay. So where exactly does this leave us, Apollo? Oh yeah, we're like in the middle of a trial. Well, the Drew Mission who was killed— this is really loud in my ears, be quieter— wasn't Drew Mission the forger, basically. Huh? Well, then who was he? Well, he was actually doing her nails. So you really made those forgeries? Yes, for father. I know it was wrong. Could you tell us how it happened? My father was a painter. I loved painting ever since I was a child. One day, father saw it in me. He saw that I had the talent. The talent for making forgeries? How should I say it? It was not only paintings I made. Given the materials, I could make anything. Anything? Father was so proud, and I so happy. But in the end, I was making those forgeries. I've never had a good constitution, nor personality. I know very little of the world outside my door. Now, because of me, father is— Do you know about this red envelope? I remember that envelope. It was some time ago. So you were already you were already creating your works back then? I started when I was only 12 years old. So the one who figured out the stamp was poisoned, that was— Mr. Justice, it's time! To the courtroom, please! Right! Out of time. Master. Wait, Vera, just one more thing, please. Those 3 paintings in the studio— I painted those as part of my work. Right, see, we checked them out and we saw that what was underneath. We saw the rough sketches underneath the 3 finished paintings. Oh god, I've had the screen flashing turned off the entire time I've played The Great Ace Attorney, and being back with the flashing is actually like, oh! I see. Mr. Justice. Yes? Father, he knew of you. Of both of you. Your late father? He was watching, gathering information. All about the Right and Co law offices. But lately we're not doing just law! Yes, you do tricks, gags to amuse, play piano. Well, they're not really gags. Yet when father heard you had resumed the legal business, how pleased he was. Who was Mr. Misham? How am I supposed to know? What if he was Daddy's daddy? Judging from the relative ages involved, I'd say it's highly unlikely. Things are already confusing enough with all these daddies running around. We know that the victim's daughter, Vera, was the forger. What does that mean for the case? Guess we're about to find out. Why am I opening that water? No. I have an open glass. Court is now back in session. Vera seems pretty tense. She's practically chewing her fingernails clean off. Perhaps you could begin by telling us how it all worked. How did you set up this Drew Mission Forger persona? There's that stare again. She's drilling more holes into his head. I do love to see Clavier every time. I love him. I know it's hard for you, but hey, he's a handsome guy. What's hard? Very well, miss, if you would. Did you really make those detestable forgeries? Perhaps you'd rather answer my question? Were you the one who painted that painting? This remarkably similar one? Yes. I painted it, yes. Well, excuse me. Mother praised me quite highly for it. So, she was the one who made the forgeries. Yet, she did not wish to reveal the truth of their operation. So the victim was a stand-in, a decoy. To the world at large, she was the forger, not her. I've done a bad thing. I have, haven't I? Regardless, we need a little more information. About, for instance, this. You have seen this before, yeah? Yes. It was in the desk drawer. Very well. You may proceed with your testimony. Tell us everything you know about this envelope. I created things and Father sold them. This envelope came after my first work. That was other than a painting. Father handled the deal, all of it. I received the stamp that was in that envelope. I like to think that she's wasting so many pages of her sketchbook every time she draws the same smiley face or whatever. That is a pretty good thought. It was after that job that we moved to the current studio. There certainly was much of great interest in your testimony. Not that the witness realizes it. Very well, please begin cross-examination. Right, okay. I need more information about this forger. This Drew Misham. Don't worry about this. God, I forgot how much he screams, hold it. Hold it! By other than a painting, you mean you don't need on paintings up to that point? Yes. But Father had a realization. He noticed my talent extended to making things other than paintings. For instance? For instance, a letter someone had written. Or a fingerprint left upon a cup. How do you forge that? Or a signature on a document. A seal upon a letter. None of these make her sound very innocent at all. And the $100,000 promised in this letter was the start. The beginning of a new industry for Drew Mission. A new industry? The creation of items to be used in criminal proceedings. Forging evidence, in other words. Uh-oh. Tell me about this. What do you mean you received it? Did I do something wrong? You didn't use that stamp because it was dangerous, correct? Deadly poison on the back! Atraconine! A moment here, forehead. You can't force an answer upon the witness. Now then, perhaps you would tell me, Fraulein Vera? Why did you receive this stamp? Is something wrong? It was beautiful. Ah, you mean it was one of those commemorative stamps? Yes, I think it was. So, you didn't know about the poison? Hello. I guess not. So the trap failed by chance, by mistake. Thanks to this commemorative stamp. Quite the close call. Fucked. I need more information about the forger. So you didn't know how the things you were making were being used? I enjoy painting very much. I think I understand. The Fraulein has lived in an unusual little world. Can you tell us what happened to the papers that were in this envelope? Father signed them and sent them back, I believe. Did he follow the instructions? Send the enclosed envelope with the enclosed stamp. This is a rather important matter. Give your answer some thought. God, his screams. By other than a painting, you mean you don't lay down— did I read this? Well, I had a realization. Most of my talent extended to making things other than paintings. For instance... Yeah, I'd read this. You mean you moved to where the current Drew studio is? Yes, we saw very few people there. I began drawing picture books. A single job had tied them to the criminal underworld. I think Mr. Mission wished to reduce their visibility in the world at large. And we had to meet someone for some reason. Father posed as the creator of the work. So that was the real essence of the artist Drew Mission. You did the work and he supplied the face. The red envelope came after she'd completed her first job. That makes it a letter from her client. Whoever wanted a forgery made. Apollo! We're close. We just have to piece together the parts. A deadly weapon in a red envelope, and the path it took to take Drew Mission's life. Eee. So these things you were making, you mean paintings identical to other paintings, right? The closer they were, the happier Father was. I was happy too. Still, you're quite young now. When did you begin this work? My first painting sold when I was 12. Your Honor! She had no idea what she was doing was illegal. Easy there, little attorney. You're not here to defend her for the crime of forgery. True. Please, tell us more about this envelope. This envelope that may very well have killed your father. I pressed everything. Oh. So, you really didn't know anything, did you? You had no idea how much danger you were in. Apparently not. What with this commemorative stamp? Could you tell us more about it? It was very pretty. And more than that... Yes? It was a picture of people I liked at the time. This is something new. Why are you shredding? Apparently, we've got some cross-examination yet ahead of us. If you would be so kind as to continue your testimony, Fraulein. Picture of my favorite magicians, so I kept it. Oops. I mean, going back to an older one after playing The Great Ace Attorney is like, oh man, they really did up the quality of life for these freaking games. Because in the new one, there's like a... Actually, I don't remember if like the newer DS ones had this as well. But in The Greatest Attorney, at least, they have like a counter for what like part of the testimony you're on, so that you don't just end it. Magicians? I love mysterious things. I always have. Even though she fainted when she saw Mr. Hat. You're confusing mysterious with freaky. I'd say surprising more than freaky. Father took me when I was very young. It was a great magic show. I loved it so much. See? See? Isn't magic great? Fine, great, yeah, sure. No need to get all excited. But the magic troupe we saw disbanded soon after. I was quite sad. Did she just say what I think she said? Magic troupe? Now, where have I heard that before? Apollo? Yeah. Do I have to present? Apollo is very rude and I love him a lot. He's so fucking tired all of the time. Do I have a, Fuck it. Those magicians you liked. Was it this bunch? Was it this bunch? Apollo! They're not a bunch! I see. Still, I have to wonder. Why include a commemorative stamp like that in a business letter? Good question. Well, pretty stamps are always better, and you can't beat Troop Gamurai. But the whole murder plan was a failure because of it. Ironic, don't you think? Prosecutor Gavin? Prosecutor Gavin? Grammari? What's with Gavin? Might I ask just one question of this witness? In your testimony just now, you stated this was your first work that was other than a painting. Please, tell me. What exactly did you make? Can I ask why? No! Answer the question! Now! Ah! Prosecutor Gavin! You're usually not the one whose volume concerns me. Yes, it is unbecoming of me. I apologize. But I must know. Please, Miss Bishop, tell me. It was a book. A single page in a book. A book? Please be more specific. It was a handwritten book. Like a diary. No! I don't know! What's wrong with Prosecutor Gavin? He looks like he just saw a ghost. Miss Misham, this book. Was there a picture of a silk hat on the back cover? Yes or no? How did you know? Prosecutor Gavin, the defendant is answering all of your questions. Stop badgering her. He's told you nothing, has he? Your soiled, sullied mentor. Nothing? Sullied who? Phoenix Wright. Who else? Daddy? He never told you about the trial 7 years ago? About how he came to lose his attorney's badge? It was a certain piece of evidence that decided his fate, you know. Yeah, offensive about clavier hours. A certain diary. On the back, it bore the mark of a silk hat. What?! Phoenix Wright tossed out of the profession by false evidence. And the forger who made that evidence... Is this girl standing right in front of me? Vera, you must tell us! The evidence you made that was used in a trial 7 years ago. Who asked Drew Misham, you, to forge that evidence? For all of our sakes, who was it? Real dramatic start to the stream, huh? We only met once. You met with the client? Well, who was it? It was... What's going on with Vera? She's staring at Prosecutor Gavin's face again. Yes? What? Is there something about me? I remember clearly. I remember who gave me the book. The diary. Who was it? Ah! Vera! Full. Defendant Vera Misham. Condition unconscious. Examiner's diagnosis. Acute atrocanine poisoning. Nightbot. This sends the recording of the trial for the murder of Drew Misham. Vera Misham was, during the trial, poisoned by an unknown assailant. Dosage was just under the lethal amount, sparing the defendant's life. She is currently in intensive care and is not to be disturbed for any reason. A very simple case, at first glance. Till it finally began to show its true colors. The long road to the truth takes us to the record of another trial. In some ways, that was the starting point of it all. And that is where we must go. To find the whole truth. Let's get into it! Showdown time. I lost. It's only a game of poker. A game I've played for a long time. And only lost twice. It was the first. The man I killed, of course. Well, it seems I've found the partner I've been looking for all along. Over a game of cards? Why, yes, over a game of cards. That was how we first met. 7 years ago. Phoenix Wright's final trial. Okay. It's been a long time since I felt like such a rookie. Here we fucking go. Gotta try and relax. Good morning, Mr. Enigmar. I'm sorry to have sprung this on you so suddenly. I received the files from your previous attorney only yesterday. Honestly, I'm not entirely sure I'm prepared. I understand I am asking the impossible of you. Yes, well, you haven't really told me what happened yet. All we did was play cards. And that was enough. Actually, it wasn't. Trust me. Oh, morning, Daddy! Ah, I'm so glad you came. You okay, Daddy? They picking on you? Ha 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 ha! I'm fine, as always. This old boy's here to help me, after all. That's young man to you. Good morning. That's a cute outfit you have on. Thanks! My first show's today, after all. Oh, I'm sure it is. What the heck is she talking about? Oh, old boy? Me? Look what he started. Here. What's this? I don't know! I just got it over there in the hall. They told me to give it to the old boy in the blue suit with the spiky hair. She's very little. I think she's like 8 years old here. I think. Either 8 or 10. They said it was really important. What's this? A memo for you of some such? Not from the looks of it. What is this? Looks like a page from someone's diary. I'll give it a read later. Well, how do you feel about the trial today? We'll get through it, somehow. Incidentally, the prosecutor today is a new guy here. Ah, an easy win then, yes? They're calling him a true thoroughbred in the history prosecutor's office. Of course, there's one of those every year. The switching of attorneys just before the trial. I know it is a difficult situation to put you in, but allow me to say one thing, Mr. Wright. Yes? They will not be able to pronounce me guilty today. So, do your best, but do not worry. First time a defendant's ever given me a pep speech. I'll do what I can. Ha 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 ha! I see you do not understand. You see, it will be impossible for them to declare a verdict. Impossible? Yes. Isn't that right, Trucy? Yep, you bet, Daddy! First look at the case was only yesterday, and the information I was given was a tad bit lacking, to be honest. Still, I'll do what I can, for their sake. I believe the curtains will be lifting any time now. I am in your capable hands, Mr. Wright. My client is Shady Enigmar, known to the world as Zach Gramarye, a wildly popular magician, star of Troop Gramarye. His mentor, Magnifique Gramarye, was a rare breed of magician. He single-handedly ushered in a golden age of stage magic, until he was shot dead. And Zach Gramarye is the suspect. Court is now in session for the trial of Shady Enigmar. Defense is ready, Your Honor. Is the prosecution ready? I was just thinking, is this what all the fuss is about? Bit of a buzzkill, really. Buzzkill? Is this some new kind of crime? One of the worst! This is a trial, yeah? Where are the sweaty palms? The pounding hearts? My governor's concert's got 10 times the thrill this game got. Who were you again? Never thought I pronounced his name like Shady. Yeah, I think his name is like Shady Enigma or something. It's stupid. Clavier Gavin. I came to get the party started. Legally, yeah? Gavin? Defense attorney Christoph Gavin's? Figures my bro's more famous in this part of town. Clavier Gavin. Lead singer for the mega hit band The Gaviners. God, it's still so funny to me seeing Phoenix's like old crusty sprites with the new nice looking AA4 sprites. You're out of your league, Rock Boy. I know what you're thinking. You're out of your league, Rock Boy. True, my debut single, 13 Years Hard Times for Love, went platinum overnight. But that's just a hobby to me compared to this, yeah? Talkative, aren't you? I like your affected Euro-rock accent, by the way. I'm just getting warmed up. You're attorney, right? It's understandable to read it as Shady. That's the thing with, like, a lot of the, like, localized pun names, is that you usually pronounce them incorrectly at first, which, like, makes the shit of them slip under the radar. I hate them. Perhaps you'd be so kind as to fill us in on the case? Aksung, baby! Time to call on the opening act. What was his name again? Yes. Detective Gumshoe! Hit it! Hello, Gumshoe! Gumshoe! And you are? Hey, you were the one who called me up here, sir. Name's Dick Gumshoe. I'm a homicide detective down at the precinct. Detective Gumshoe. Long time no see. Hey, you! Me? Today's the day, pal. Today, I win and you lose. I got confidence in my testimony today, see? What? You don't really lack confidence in your testimony? Alright, detective. This is my stage. Can't the antics. All this hey-youing and such. And I could care less about your history together. Young Clavier is such a little bitch. Ugh. Very well, Detective Gumshoe, if you would. Please tell us about the case at hand. Happened 6 days back in a room at the General Hospital. The facts are as simple as they come. Here's the crime scene. The victim was a patient, asleep in a hospital bed. Excuse me. The killer comes in, puts a pistol to his forehead, and bam! Lights out. I want to let Gumshoe and Francisca out of the basement, but I guess if they get out of the basement, that means they can do crimes to them. It's a very monkey's paw situation. Then to the facts. Not so long ago, the victim, Magnific Grammar, was a famous man. Though Gumshoe and Francisca did appear in a Ace Attorney investigation, so at least there's that. I should really play those. Not so long ago, the victim, Magnific Grammar, was a famous man. He had the entire country under his magical spell, as it were. Ah yes, the great magician. He retired years ago, though. Say the name Magnifi to one of my generation, and you'd be lucky to get a blank stare. Yes, though I'm sure the youngsters today know his disciples even better. I dare say True Grammar has made quite a name for themselves. Anyhow, the retired Magnifi's been in the hospital for the last year. What was it? A malignorant tutor or something. Doing something to his liver, I think? Yeah. A malignant tumor, perhaps? In other words, he had liver cancer. Esther, if you grab me, we can both play AI and take the voice acting the voice acting burden. He'd only 3 months left to live, in fact. Sucks, dude. The facts do seem simple enough, but something's not right. We should do it, Esther. The victim was already climbing a 3-month stairway to heaven. 3. Not tree. Find a way for him to knock 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 on heaven's door. Why shoot him? I wouldn't have put it quite so lyrically, but it's true. Yeah, monkey circle around Ace Attorney investigations. Why make the effort to commit murder when the victim was about to die? Incidentally, the victim had a serious case of diabetes. Diabetes? In fact, he was about to shoot up with insulin. Hey kid, you're gonna shoot up later. He was shot with a pistol. The syringe was found at the crime scene. Chronic diabetes and cancer. As much as it pains me to say it, the victim was clearly at the end of his life. I believe the question before us is clear then. Why did the killer have to shoot this dying man? What reason could he have had? Very well, detective. Perhaps you can enlighten us to the circumstances of the shooting. Yes, sir! Actually, the victim kind of ordered the defendant to do him in. A few days before it happened, the victim sent a letter ordering his own murder. The defendant did what was asked of him and shot the old man in the forehead. Doesn't that kind of count? Is that still like, does that like kind of fall under suicide? Or, I don't know. I mean, I guess you can like refuse and then not, and then that's how it gets classed as murder, I don't know. The bullet was fired from the pistol found at the scene, no doubt about it. And the pistol definitely belonged to the old man, sir. But what? You're saying the victim ordered his own shooting? Those are the facts. I have here the letter in question. Let's open that shit and read it. To my beloved student Zach, to you I entrust the task of lowering my life's curtain. Come on the 13th, 11:05 p.m. I will ready a gun with which you will shoot one shot square in the forehead. You cannot refuse, and we both know the reason why. Magnific Grammar. What else do we have in here? Lots of blood from bullet wounds. Would you call a shot to the head loss of blood? I would say it's bullet to brain. Seems fate's clock will make me wait a little longer. At last, At least only less than 10 swift minutes remain. To all those who have supported me in my life's work, I give thanks. Farewell, Magnifique Samurai. This chart. Can I poke it? I want to poke it. Whoop. I always hated getting shots. I guess Magnifique was giving himself the insulin shots. There's no way I could do that. Ugh. Wait, I imagine if I used this to inject insulin. Why are there no traces of it having been used? Something to keep in mind. Sometimes the cause of death can be funky. That's fair. Very unusual indeed. Although, could such a thing as a letter really cause one to pull the trigger, I wonder? I believe the answer to that question can be found at the end of the letter. Ah, you cannot refuse, and we both know the reason why. Detective Gumshoe, can you explain this to the court? Unfortunately, even the defendant won't say a peep about that bit, sir. One thing bothers me about this. Why didn't he just say 11? Why have him come at 11:05 without some specific reason? The devil is in the details, Herr Attorney. Well, was there some reason? As it turns out, there was. Every night, for a half an hour, starting at 11, the victim, Magnifique Samurai, was given an IV. An IV? There it is in the picture, off to the side of the bed. At 11 o'clock, a doctor would come to set up the IV. 30 minutes later, he would come back for the empty bag. This happened every night without fail. So that was the only time they could meet without the chance of an untimely interruption. During his IV. Very well, shall we begin? Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, if you would. What's this reason he couldn't refuse, I wonder? He could have at least mentioned it to me. Tell me about this. Just because he got the letter doesn't mean he went through with it. No, I disagree. The victim was, indeed, shot in the forehead after all, just as he had commanded. It could be set up. But let's not be in such a hurry. Maybe we should let the witness talk for a change. Thanks, pal. Fine. I can play it slow, as well as I can play it fast. On with the testimony, Detective Gumshoe. No doubt about it. God, Phoenix has like super compressed voice line. You mean the pistol, the one in the crime scene photo? That's the one! It's a funny looking gun, so there's no mistaking it. We compared the bullet taken from the victim's skull with the bullet fired from this gun. The rifling marks on the bullet were a perfect match. So, you verified the murder weapon, in other words. You bet we did! This definitely belonged to the old man. Okay, that's the end of it. No time to gather all the details before coming in here. That's why my probably only source of information. Better pay attention. Read this letter carefully. Oh, I pressed that already. How can you be so sure? Hey, you gotta learn to stop relying on people to do your thinking for you, pal. Yeah, I do feel incredibly spoiled by TTS. I'm just like, fuck. Learn to think for yourself. Get that knock and cranking. You failed to grasp the concept of questioning, detective. First, we got this letter. It says shoot in the forehead, out loud and clear. I can see that, but I still wouldn't do it. Well, maybe you need to grow yourself a backbone, pal. You failed to grasp the concept of shooting people is bad, detective. We also found the defendant's pistol at the scene. Traces of gunpowder residue show it had been fired recently. Well, Mr. Wright? Excuse me. As far as I can tell from looking at this photo, There seems to be no issue with the prosecution's claim. Photo, maybe there's something in there I can use. Is saying the defendant shot the victim in the forehead? I think there's a hole in the prosecution's argument. Clearly, Mr. Enigmar shot something else. Looking at this photo, another possibility occurs to me. Yes? What does the letter tell us? That the defendant had a reason he couldn't refuse his teacher's wishes. Bingo, pal! That's why the defendant popped him one in the forehead. Well, the defendant disagrees. Defense. You see, the defendant had another choice he could make.
Objection!
What? And you can prove that with this photo? I can prove he had a choice, yes. The defendant might have fired like he was ordered, but he didn't shoot the victim's forehead. Well, let's hear what you're thinking, Mr. Wright. If he didn't shoot the victim's forehead, what did the defense shoot? This fucking clown.
Take that!
Take that. The clown doll? Take a closer look. See? It has been shot in the forehead, too. Ah! There's a hole in its forehead. Yes, and a hole in the prosecution's claim.
Objection!
Ha! And I suppose you have a reason as to why he'd shoot that clown doll? He didn't just shoot the doll. He shot the doll's forehead. His forehead? Ah! Let's read the orders once more, shall we? You will shoot one shot square in the forehead. Which is exactly what he did. He shot the clown doll square in the forehead! Princess raised an intriguing possibility. The hole in the clown's forehead. It definitely looks like it was shot. Bailiff, send someone to investigate this matter.
Objection!
I admit, I'm impressed, but I expected nothing less. Still, this doesn't mean he didn't shoot the victim. Wow, the sound quality between them. I do respect the just using the pre-made assets already, but it's really funny comparing them. Perhaps he did have to shoot a forehead as ordered. But the letter says nothing about whose forehead. This was the only way he had to follow his orders without taking a life. The bullet hole in the clown doll's forehead does demand an explanation. It might very well be a clue. Yet Prosecutor Gavin is right. It alone does not prove the defendant's innocence. You cannot say for sure the defendant didn't shoot the victim. So sorry, Mr. Wright. How sad it is to see the mighty fall. How sad it is to see the novice's overconfidence. He doesn't realize just how big this little hole is going to get. Detective Gumshoe, please take this newfound fact into account as you continue your testimony. So what if he shot the clown? He still shot the victim, pal! Tell me about that. So let me get this straight. You're saying my client first shot the clown, then shot the victim? Hey! Not a bad summary, pal! More of a confirmation than a summary, but whatever. That was really more of a confirmation than a summary. But a defense attorney seems pleased enough with himself. Do these people ever miss a chance to mock me? No, they don't. Well, now that Mr. Wright's gotten that out of his system, shall we continue with the testimony? Didn't have time to gather all the details. I love Clever so much. This is definitely an old man. He still shot the victim. Shit, that's the end. Shit, I wasn't paying attention. Oh my god. I mean, down here he's saying... wait. Why isn't the gun in here? What? Why don't I have the gun? That's fucked. Because weren't they saying that, like, a single bullet came out of the gun? Shit. Okay, I don't have the gun, so that's not what that is. Just probably just still found the scene. I pressed all these already, I think. It might have been the clown's forehead he shot. Okay, so we practiced first on the doll, then shot him. We practiced in the middle of the hospital? Anyone could come in at any moment. Yeah, but no one did come, did they, pal? Besides, it's what I would have done. Always look before you shoot, I say. Might I suggest we move on? This is getting us nowhere. Patience. We'll get there sooner than we think. Very well. Please continue with your testimony, detective. Shit. I mean, this pistol, the one in the crime scene photo? That's the one! It's a funny looking gun. No mistaking it. Hear the bullet. Perfect marks. Why are you so certain? What pile of sand has your head been stuck in all this time, pal? You never heard of Zack and Balance quick draw shoot 'em? Okay, I didn't press this one. Huh? What's that? One of the defendant's specialties. Zack and Balance stand on either side of a girl. Then they shoot. But the bullets don't hit her. Instead, they hit everything else on the stage. This is one of the pistols they use in their show. Got a great design, huh? The kids love it. Many boys and girls join the police because of that pistol, I hear. Why? Why? You know, that would explain a lot about the police force. It would. The Ace Attorney police force is so fucked. Joe Cameron stopped doing that act a while ago. The old man held on to his pistol ever since. But I'd like to see the pistol in question. Yes, please add it to the court record. You got it, sir. Here she is. Well, this truly is a blast from the past. Stage pistol for magic shows, see? But it can fire real bullets. Why? Looks so much bigger in real life than on TV. Yeah, but it can only shoot one round. By the way, the pistol's firing chamber is empty. It shows traces that haven't been fired recently. So, were any fingerprints found on the gun? Unfortunately, no. Of course, the defendant is known for wearing gloves. We might say that a lack of fingerprints is, in fact, a fingerprint of its own. Aha! Intriguing point, well made. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Not well made, not intriguing! In any case, the court accepts this into evidence. Yay! Come here, Gumshoe, grabbing you! My grandchild will get a kick out of seeing this. But now it's time to return to our testimony. No, he didn't. There's only one shot. The trickiest cases often seem the simplest. Prosecutor Gavin, you missed the bullet hole in the clown's forehead. If you hadn't missed that, you might have come to a very different conclusion. Understand? Yeah, but like I just said, pal. After he shot the clown in the forehead, he went and did nothing of the sort to the victim. The pistol proves he could not. The murder weapon? How? It's quite simple, Your Honor. This pistol only holds one bullet at a time. Ah! If he had shot the clown in the forehead, he couldn't have shot the victim too. Yerr! That's not a contradiction, not even close. All he had to do was reload the pistol after the first shot. Oh? Where did he get the extra bullet? They're not so easy to come by, you know. If you claim the defendant had one already, then prove to us how he got it. I had a feeling this wasn't over yet. No, this party's just getting started. And I haven't proven anything yet beyond my good looks and startling record sales. And utter lack of humility. What's this? Seems that the prosecution has another witness prepared. Like I said, Hair Detective was just the warm-up act. Ugh. Now that the audience has gotten a taste of what's to come, they're ready. Ready for what? For my decisive witness, of course. A witness who, you will find, can prove one thing for us. That it was Zack Grammerite who shot the victim in the forehead. Very well. We'll pause for a 15-minute recess. This might be my lucky break. I'll need that 15 minutes to talk to my client, Zack. Court is adjourned. Sippy water. Yes. Very impressive, Mr. Wright. I have to say, I expected nothing less. You've only just begun. I was hoping you could tell me a bit more about what happened, actually. I did not think you would believe me if I told you. But I thought you discovered the truth for yourself. I was thinking of you, you know. I think we need less thinking and more talking. The night in the hospital, what really happened? Ah, the way your eyes gleam, Mr. Wright. You'll scare Trucy. Speaking of which, where is she? Excuse me. You've seen the problem yourself, the letter. The one shot in the forehead one, right? Yes, and the reason he speaks of. I could not deny my mentor's wishes, even if it meant my own death. Why not? This is something I will not say, for now at least. What's this for now business? I have done many things in my life, some well, some poorly. But this is a cross you must bear alone to our graves. Me? You wanted to know about the night of the incident? Finally. This guy sure takes his time getting to the important stuff. Of course, I had no intention of shooting my mentor. I snuck into his room that night at the appointed time. I found there upon his bedside table 2 pistols. 2? Yes, the one I had used on stage. And the one that had been used by my partner, Valant. Oh, for the Zack and Valant's quick draw thing. My mentor had the look of one sleeping. I stood by his bedside, hearing only the light sound of his breathing. Then I took the pistol into my hand. I cannot deny that my resolve faltered then for a moment. You faltered? You mean you thought about shooting him? Recall, there was a reason I could not refuse his request. His last such request, though not his first. So, there were other requests you couldn't refuse before? To be honest, I've not always been steadfast, and I fear I've brought pain upon Trucy. Was Magnify coercing his disciples somehow? So what was going on in True Grammar Eye? Yet, in the end, I did not shoot him. Instead, I turned and shot the clown. I took the pistol I had fired and placed it in my pocket. In your pocket? I believe if you examine the bullet in the clown's head, you'll find it to be different than the one in my mentor. What were those called? Rifling marks. Yes, well, that is all I have to tell you. Concerning the case. Concerning the case? You mean there's something else you can tell me? Heh! Ha ha ha! You are a fascinating man, Mr. Wright. Thanks? Yes, there was something. They're like the fingerprints of the gun! My mentor, his eyes opened. What? Night of a Grammary? The old devil, he was not asleep, you see. I mean, even if he was asleep, he would have woken up from hearing a fucking gunshot. Of course, the gunshot would have woken him anyway, yeah. And there we had our last discussion as mentor and pupil. It was not a long discussion, maybe 5-10 minutes or so. What did you talk about? Haha, Mr. Wright, did I not just tell you? It does not concern this case. What's that Grammar Eye? Seems pretty steadfast to me. Or maybe just stubborn. Mr. Wright, your presence is requested in the courtroom. Once again, I am in your hands. Right, let's get back in there. Court is now back in session. Blech. During our recess, a bullet was found in and dug out of the clown's forehead. Well, this is news. And the rifling marks? There wasn't time to do a detailed analysis. Why is it, like, typing faster? So they did... Excuse me. Well, they did find the weapon type matches the murder weapon. Well, that's not very conclusive, is it? Which is why I'm about to call my very decisive witness. Your decisive witness? How many times have I heard those words? Though they often turn out to be far less decisive than you think. This case is so... It's really funny watching Phoenix actually be, like, confident because someone isn't actively stomping on his neck. It's so funny seeing him be, like, I don't know, haughty? Because he's, like, never like this. Even when he's, like, a quote-unquote senior defense attorney. He's, like, still a mess. Oh, don't worry. On my account, I'm quite confident the witness will do his job. After all, he is intimately acquainted with the players in our little production. Being the other half of True Grammar Eye's famous duo, Zack and Valant. Valant Grammar Eye. So we get to meet the Great Magnifier's other disciple. Hi. This boy. Perhaps I'll start by asking your name and occupation. Valiant Grammari. Magician. And you're the decisive witness, are you? You can prove your fellow student your partner's guilt. Fate, the grand illusion, filled with traps and tricks. Wait, the shooting took place in that hospital after 11 o'clock at night. If you're a witness, does that mean you were there that late? If one were to deduce this logically, the conclusion is yes. Okay. I always get the characters, don't I? I have an interesting fact for you. You see, several days before the crime, my witness received this. That looks very familiar. Wait. That's the same letter Zach Grammari received. Yes, or perhaps I should say, ta-da! Look how weird his hair looks. Order, order, order! And what does it say? Surely not the same thing. Perhaps you should see for yourself. It's practically the same. My beloved student Valen, to you I entrust the task of lowering my life's curtain. Come on the 13th, 11:20 p.m. I will ready a gun with which you will shoot one shot square in the forehead. You cannot refuse, and we both know the reason why. The court accepts this into evidence. This is most unusual. Exactly what was going on with you folks? What exactly was your true Grammari up to? Oh, you know, the usual. But what do you mean? I'm just having trouble envisioning a man who would ask the students to kill him. Both of them, no less. It's just my opinion, Herr Judge. But from these letters, I'd say he was coercing them, not asking them. We walked the magician's path together, and in so doing, shared much of our lives. When people are so close, there is strain. A warping of relations, you might say. Yet this has nothing to do with the case at hand. By which you mean you're not going to tell us. Which makes me wonder even more about this reason they couldn't refuse. Well, let's get on with the testimony for starters. The defendant, Zach Grammari, stands accused. Tell us why. Oh, we'll do more than that. For where he walks, the red roses sing hymns. Wait, what the fuck is he saying? Where he walks, the red roses rise, singing hymns to the miracle that is magic. Good god, dude. Fascinating. Though I hardly need to remind you that the evidence could just as clearly point you to as suspect. Sorry. But having marble mouth. The letter, the murder weapon, and now the 2 bullets found at the scene. In fact, the only difference seems to be the designated time. Ha 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 ha. As every magician knows, timing is everything. Yes. And now it's time to get this party fired up. Okay, Clevy. End the crime. That night, I visited the hospital room at the time the Magnifier requested. The smell of gunpowder hung in the room, and my mentor had taken his final bow. I did not imagine my fellow student might have received the same instructions. Yet a deal with the dead is still a deal. Death's sweet kiss, I gave to the clown. Death's sweet kiss, I gave to the clown. Then I informed the doctor and the police. So you were the one who reported the crime? Indeed, I would think. This fact alone would clear my name of suspicion. Let's not jump to any conclusions. Yes, the cross-examination generally comes before the conclusions in this court. But if your testimony proves to be true, the defendant, Zach Grammari, is guilty. And if it wasn't Zach Grammari, then the killer was you, Valiant. I love his staff spitting sprite. And no disappearing act will get you out of that. I also love how much the magician outfits just kind of look like tracksuits. They're like fancy tracksuits, but... Give me all your informations. Which, according to the letter, was 11:20 p.m. Indeed, in magic, time is everything. Right. Consider the illusion of teleportation. If I were to appear on stage before my stunt double has left, how would that look? Why, it would reveal the very secrets of my magic. Now that you've revealed the very secrets of your magic for all of us, let's move on. You went at the designated time, and what did you see? Smells of gunpowder. My mentor taking his final bow. So, you weren't worried for your own safety at all? I mean, you smelled gunpowder, yes? What if the shooter was still nearby? I did not consider this, to be honest. It is forbidden for a magician to have good imagination. Really? Isn't magic all about illusions and imagination? How about this? You were the shooter, which is why you weren't afraid. Now you were the one imagining. It is forbidden for a lawyer to have a good imagination. The witness will refrain from pausing so suspiciously before responding. My forbidden imagination is starting to imagine things. I forbid you from pausing suspiciously. Which brings us back to this reason neither of you could refuse. So it does. My partner, he did not refuse. But Magnifi wrote the same thing to you. Why would you refuse if Zack couldn't? Oh, why could you? Because I still have a will of steel! Of course. I also do this trick where I bend steel bars, so perhaps steel isn't all so strong. So which is it? Mind if I continue? Deal with the dead is still a deal. Ever since I saw Ace Attorney 4, I've been obsessed with the line, "Death's sweet kiss I gave to the clown." There's just something about it. There were 2 bullet holes at the scene, one in the victim and one in the clown. You're saying the one who shot the clown was you? No doubt my partner Zack had said much the same thing. Yeah, because whoever didn't shoot the clown committed murder. Better dig around here a bit more and see what I can turn up. Mr. Valent, let me ask you about something else concerning the crime scene, namely... Death's sweet kiss I gave to the clown is really good. Hold the pistol, the location of the pistol, the number of pistols? I mean, the number of pistols is something we know. How many pistols were there when you entered the room? By which you mean what, precisely? 2 pistols were used in the Zack and Valent quick draw shoot-'em, correct? 1 for each of you. You're well informed, yet only one of my old friends sat in the hospital room that night. What did Zack tell me back in the lobby? Stuck into his room, in appointed time, found there, his bedside table, 2 pistols. Put in my pocket. I see no problem with the statement. Only 1 pistol is visible in the photograph of the crime scene after all. So you picked up that pistol and fired it? Indeed I did. Alakazam, Alakazing, Alakaboom. Is the number of pistols really so important? Yeah, I guess. The number of pistols is quite important, Your Honor. There is very rarely a time in Ace Attorney where they're like, is it important? And the actual answer is no. Actually, I can't think of a single time where saying no is correct, other than, like, that one case where you refuse to present evidence. Very well. Please add this detail to your testimony. What can I do but obey? The pistol was in the hospital the night with it I shot the clown. So you took the only pistol there and fired it? That's correct. And that pistol was this one, which was left at the crime scene? Good show! I see you too are a magician of sorts. And you're an idiot of sorts. Do you have any idea what you just said? I see that fire in your eyes as you glare at the witness. So how about the heating up of this trial a bit? These show ballads bore me. Got a hunch, but maybe that's all it is. Maybe I should ask about something else? The bullet in the pistol, location of the pistol, no need. What? I don't think the location matters. I don't see why the bullet... Well... The bullets are different. In order to shoot a pistol, you need a bullet. Where was the bullet? What? I entered the room and took the pistol in my hand. The bullet was already loaded, ready to fire at any time. A magician is always prepared, you see. Prepared for... One never knows what a miracle might be called for. A magician always has 7 doves in his pocket and a white rabbit up each sleeve. Clearly, we're dealing with the professionals here. Is this bullet that was loaded in the pistol really so important? I guess? Without a loaded bullet, we wouldn't have a murder. It's very important, Your Honor. Very well. Please add this detail to your testimony. What can I do but obey? Just change it, or do they like stack? I really have to build a trigger. No, okay, these do change. The pistol was already loaded. Something doesn't make sense. Why weren't the victim's fingerprints on it? You should know that we of the Troop Samurai are capable of many things. One of these being the levitation of iron balls, without touching them. There's no magic involved here. The shooter was just methodical is all. He simply wiped everything with fingerprints. You can't really do much with fingerprints that weren't there. Maybe I should ask about something else? Okay, I'm actually gonna look this one up because I don't remember what you're supposed to do. I'm opening the walkthrough. Oh wow, I scrolled down like way too much, fuck. Continues. Tell me about the gun. Okay, yeah, it's the number of pistols. Okay, here we go. Progress. According to the defendant, Zach Samurai, when he entered the room, there were 2 pistols on that table. 2? One of those pistols he used to shoot the clown in the forehead. Then he left with it in his pocket. Of course, this is what he would say. Unlike the hapless clown, we must assume our defendant has some brains in his head. Well, what about what Mr. Valent has told us? You see, there's something about his testimony that doesn't make sense. What might that be? I told you, I took the pistol that was there and shot the clown. That's her story, at least. But the rifling marks tell a very different story. Mr. Valent, recall what Prosecutor Gavin has told us. For the bullet taken from the victim's skull, bullet fired from his gun. Rifling marks on the bullets are proof of the match. Ah. Mr. Valent, if you fired this pistol, then you shot the victim in the forehead. Order, order, order. Well, this is all rather sudden. What have I done? Prosecutor Gavin? I owe the court an apology. Sorry. Sorry for what? You see, I was unaware that 2 of these unique pistols were crafted. The analysis of the rifling marks only proved the type of gun that fired them. But that's not what you told us before. You said you verified the murder weapon. Which is why I'm apologizing to you now. Quite sincerely, I might add. Would you hold me accountable for a mistake made in my youth? That was just this morning! I am still young. And, I might add, it wasn't really my fault. If the defendant had only admitted he took 1 pistol from the crime scene of the crime, we would not be having this pleasant conversation right now. Valent Samurai? Yes, Your Honor. You were presented to this court as a decisive witness. It's a really good line. Can you forgive me for mistakes I made in my youth? But you've proven to me to be more divisive than decisive. I'm still young. Ain't like that now. You'll see, in time. The testimony so far has merely been a review of the facts. The proof comes next. Care to elaborate, Prosecutor Gavin? When Mr. Valent entered the hospital room, the victim had already been shot. As his next testimony will prove, right? The real fight is supposed to begin. Bring it. Very well. The whistle will now testify to the court. Help us determine who shot what. Who shot what? I arrived at the hospital room at the appointed time, which is to say 11:20 p.m. After discovering the body, I fulfilled my obligation, then called the doctor. The doctor examined the body before the police arrived. He was quite clear about the time of death, 11:10 p.m. And the one in the room at the time was my partner, not me. Those times are rather close, you have to admit. You're talking about an alibi established over a matter of minutes. To use a 10-minute discrepancy as the basis of your alibi. It's easy to explain in this situation, Herr Judge. For example, take our debut hit single, 13 Years Hard Time for Love. Cue to the song, press the play button, and it will play for 2 minutes, 15 seconds. Do it 100 times, the result is the same. Our debut single is only 2 minutes and 15 seconds long? What a ripoff! You did. Magic is a world of utmost precision. Hocus Pocus requires admirable focus. And the time of the death was determined by the doctor. There was an truth. Very well. The prosecution warns us that we're dealing with rather precise times. And we could expect the cross-examination to require the same level of precision. I would hope the defense refrains from its customary broad, sweeping accusations. Lest we blur the focus this case so clearly demands. Point taken. Baseless remarks will result in a penalty. Carry on, Mr. Wright. Carry on. Right. Build my obligation. Call the doctor. See on the body before the police arrived. Tell me about this. Did the doctor say anything concerning the cause of death? Why, yes. I believe he screamed, "My God! He's been shot in the head!" It doesn't take a doctor to notice that. I believe I would have said much the same thing. And I would have penned the requiem that arose in my soul at the— What? I would have penned the requiem that arose in my soul at that horrid sight. Okay. Whatever happened to good old-fashioned investigation? In any case, I believe this is nothing more than what we've already learned. I'm still waiting for one of those right moments, Herr Attorney. May I remind you that basics remark will earn penalties. Proceed with that in mind. Yes, Your Honor. What a pain this is turning out to be. Sorry about my mush mouth. 10 p.m. Wonder what time is our partner. Tell me about this. I don't think I'm stepping out on a limb to say I have some doubts about this. How could the doctor be so precise with the time? We do usually only get an estimated time of death, true. Not sure that I've heard a verified time of death. Magic revels in making the complex appear simple, but reality is the opposite. What appears complex, in this case, is a simple matter of subtraction. I see another person has done their arithmetic homework. The point here is the IV the victim was taking. It's quite visible in the photograph of the scene. Recall what we heard earlier about the victim Magnificamore's schedule. Every night at 11 o'clock, Magnifi took an IV drip for 30 minutes. You can see the IV bag right there, yes. Now, look a little closer. Follow the tube down from the bag to the end. Ah! The needle's been removed. Doubtlessly, it fell out when he was shot. Why would it fall out? Why would it fall out? Do IVs just fall out? I don't think they do. That would seem to be the case. When the needle comes out, the IV no longer drips. Ah, you could just measure the remaining IV liquid. Precisely. The IV liquid functions, for our purpose, as an hourglass of sorts. This is how the doctor determined the time of death. From the amount remaining in the bag, it was determined that the IV had stopped 10 minutes after administration began. Thanks. And so it was, when I, Valiant, entered that room. 10 minutes had passed since that horrid crime was committed. And this is proof. All, Mr. Wright? Did that seem important? Yeah, of course it's important. Well, seeing how it is the biggest clue we have as to the time of death, I'd say it's very important. Agreed. It would be hard to imagine a more precise way to determine the time. Behold the power of arithmetic. Very well. The witness will add this detail to his testimony. Sometimes the most magical thing of all is the truth. The water of life springs not eternal. The remaining IV liquid proves my innocence. This is new information. Did you notice the IV yourself by any chance? When first I entered that room, the stench of gunpowder assailed me. Next, the mark of death upon my mentor's forehead. And then, his left arm, did I spy, a rose, dripping and wilted. Its thorn, the discarded IV needle. Not from the vein by the force of the shot. Lucky for you, I don't think that happens. If that IV had not been there, why, you might be a suspect. Indubitably so. I might say it's thanks to my lucky color. Your lucky color? Indeed. Even today I wear it proudly upon my suspect self. For it always, without fail, brings me luck. Why then, Zack and Valent won their first Magician's Grand Prix. Yes, the very one held by the Association of International Magicians. I was adorned in this attire then, too, and a trophy, a bust. Ah, what a day that was. This is one trip down memory lane no one needs. My lucky color, yes indeed. And that IV, too. I say, I think 'twas huge, especially for me, Valent. That does need to be the case, indeed. Well, Mr. Wright, any thoughts on this testimony? Valent sure looks happy with himself. Okay, how about this lucky color testimony? There's a contradiction. It certainly sounds like your lucky colors brought you plenty of luck. I do remember this part very vividly because it made me really angry. For like, we'll get to it, but I actually am like, man, why'd I get so angry about that? Aster knows what I'm talking about. But not this time. Mr. Valent, your lucky colors betrayed you. I'm afraid you've lost me. Ooh, why is my frames dropping? Oh, they're back. Your Honor, the witness's testimony just now clearly contradicts the evidence. Oh, my frames. My frames. Oh, you also know, Alex. We're all here together. Please recall my warning at the beginning of this cross-examination, Mr. Wright. What is with my frames? Curious. Racist accusations will be duly penalized. I do hope this latest accusation is well-based. Don't worry, I've called out all your bases right here. Very well, let's see the defense's claim. Where is your evidence that contradicts Mr. Valent has told us? Yeah. The crime scene tells all, Your Honor. The photo of the crime scene? All this talk of color has me yearning for black and white, clear-cut simplicity. Tell us, Herr Wright, just where is the contradiction in this photo? My pleasure. And, I assure you, it's quite simple. But I can't promise anything in black and white. Dork. Let's hear what Mr. Wright has to say. What in this photo contradicts the witness testimony? Valent Grammari, let's get one thing straight about your lucky color. It's yellow, yes? Excuse me, oh god, I have the hiccups, oh no. Kinda takes the mystery out of it, but yes. Something wrong with yellow, Mr. Wright? Yes, there is. Decisively wrong, in fact. Take another look at the photo of the crime scene. What's this? Confusion, doubt. Tell us, what do your elderly eyes spy? Even my elderly eyes can see a problem here, Mr. Valent. Look at that IV bag. Ah! But what is this? What foul magic? It would be hard to call the IV liquid yellow. And I'm afraid no magic was involved in taking the photograph. Ah. Alicus. No! Order! 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 What does this mean? This is some kind of mistake! Yes, Prosecutor Gavin. Your witness's mistake. Yeah. The greener they are, the harder they fall. I suppose there's no substitute for experience. Shut up, Phoenix. Valent Grammari, as you reminded us several times, your lucky color is yellow, but the IV is clearly not. Well, This contradiction can mean only one thing. And to think, you almost had me. Hmm? I see your true colors now, Ace Attorney Phoenix, right? Something you'd like to tell us, Prosecutor Gavin? As far as this court can tell, the witness's testimony does contradict the evidence. Yes, a contradiction. One that I shall be pleased to hand right back to Mr. Wright. How do you mean? How? Because the witness has made no mistakes. I agree, at a glance, the IV liquid does appear to sort of greenish yellow. But I assure you, the liquid itself is quite yellow. Yellow liquid? How can you say that? As far as I can tell from this photo, it's green. Yes, but what color is the IV bag itself? The bag? You mean the plastic bag on the hook? It looks like a, I want to say light blue? Precisely. Figured it out yet? Put a yellow liquid in a blue bag and you get green. This, incidentally, is the liquid's true color. I know that there are like these like yellow colored IVs, but this is like straight piss. I see. Your explanation does have the ring of truth to it. As I thought. There's no substitute for experience, Prosecutor Gavin. What? You may tell a good tale, but you've just proven something rather grave. For you, that is. Grave? The liquid in the IV is yellow, yes. But how did this witness know that? It's quite unnatural when you think about it. You did think about it, didn't you? Your Honor, the defense requests an explanation from the witness. At the scene of the crime, the IV liquid appears to be green. So let me ask, how did the witness know the IV liquid was actually yellow? And like, oh my god! Order! 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 Mr. Wright, you will explain this at once. Witness clearly knew the color of the IV liquid. So I'm sure it means something, but what? I can think of only one possibility, Your Honor. The witness, Valiant Grammari, has testified that the IV liquid was yellow because... Looked yellow he'd seen it before he knew the IV's liquid color? What's the difference between he saw it before and liquid color? I knew it? From the facts before us, the answer is clear. The witness knew that the IV liquid was yellow. Valiant sprays are all really good. Why? Because he'd seen it before, but not inside the blue bag we see in the photo. He saw the liquid by itself in a clear colorless bag. I suppose he would have had to, but I'm still not clear as to what this all means. I thought IVs only came in clear bags. Are there blue bag? I guess there could be blue bag IVs. Why would a hospital have both? Ask yourself, why would he know if he didn't work at a hospital? That's where you'll find your meaning, Your Honor. I'm afraid I find nothing. So what if he knew the IV liquid's color? You're getting excited over absolutely nothing to our teeny bopper fans, yeah? What? The IV liquid is the only evidence proving the time of death. A 30-minute hourglass with 20 minutes worth of sand remaining. Your claim, Prosecutor Gavin. I remember it well. However, there's a critical difference between an hourglass and an IV bag. Wait, I know! An hourglass uses sand, but an IV bag uses liquid. I'm right? As much as it pains me to say this, Your Honor, no. Unlike the sands through an hourglass, IV liquid entered the patient's body. At which point, like magic, it disappears. However, what if the amount of IV liquid had increased? You couldn't tell, could you? After all, there's no way of knowing how much went in. Let me get this straight, her right? You're saying the witness watered down the victim's IV bag? Not with water, but with IV liquid. That's how you knew the IV liquid was yellow. Now wait! I said wait! How might an amateur such as myself essay to perform such a task? I'm an amateur too, but I can pour water into a cup. I'm afraid there's quite a big difference between a cup and IV bag. Can you prove your witness is capable of such a feat? He has a point, amateurs. I, at least, would have some difficulty pouring IV liquid into that bag. You don't need to be an expert to see the looks on the witness' face. He had the liquid of the IV to throw off the time of death. I tire of these fairy tales lacking evidence. Well, Mr. Wright, any solid evidence to bring us back down to earth? Valiant Grammari. I'm afraid your magic won't serve you well in a life of crime. Might I ask what you're strongly suggesting? Magic relies on props, and props become evidence. Our witness was clearly able to increase the amount of liquid in a IV bag. All he had to do was work a little magic, and the prop was this fucking syringe. The victim's syringe. It's the perfect prop for the magically increasing IV trick. And easy enough for an amateur to use. What kind of evidence is that? The syringe was clean, not a trace of liquid in it. And don't you find that odd, Prosecutor Gavin? What? The victim had the syringe to administer his insulin shots. There should have been traces of insulin left inside. Well, Valiant Grammari? As you pointed out yourself, the IV liquid makes the perfect clock. One that you could manipulate at will. Alaka... I do believe, well, with this being his first, that the burden of this trial has been a bit too much to bear for Prosecutor Gavin. I'm afraid that, while there is a doubt as to the amount of IV liquid in that bag, the time of death cannot be proven. And that brings the trial to a close for today. Well, maybe I can squeeze an extra day out of this. I can do a little much-needed investigation work. I see there are no objections. Court is... Truly, there's no substitute for experience. Nothing blinds one to the truth so effectively. A word to the wise. Underestimate the young, and they'll sweep your feet out from under you. In a way you never, ever expected. You see, I know exactly what you're thinking. What's he talking about? You say the witness used the syringe to manipulate the level IV liquid. But there is no proof. There's no proof he didn't do it either. Yes, quite true. Huh? He's admitting to it? Nor was this witness quite as decisive as I'd hoped. This, I admit. After all, why linger in the past when the future holds so much? You have something in mind, Prosecutor Gavin? Proof, Herr Judge. I have another way to prove my case. With evidence, no less. What's this? This is the victim, Magnific Grammari's diary. Diary? After going into the hospital, Magnifi began writing his memoirs, it seems. The story of his birth, his startling debut, and of meeting his disciples. It seems he intended for the last chapter to end, quite appropriately, with his death. Wait, that book doesn't say what the reason was, does it? The reason why his disciples couldn't refuse his last request? Sadly, it does not. What's important here is on the last page. Apparently, the victim wrote in his journal that night. Even after the IV had begun at 11 p.m. Let's read it, shall we? What? I can't read it with your textbook, Judge. This does appear to have been written just before his death. The court accepts this into evidence. Nope, wrong one. Wait, what? No, I want to read the past. Damn you. Okay, I'll look at it. This is the last page. The diary's here. Huh? What's this? It looks like a page was ripped out? Oh no, wasn't that interesting? God, Clever's theme is so good. Oh, I can't examine this? Fine then. This journal may end here, or it may go on. But not long. That depends on his hand. Tonight's AV is in, maybe the last. I leave the rest to them. The first should come soon. This journal may end here, or it may go on. But not long. Of course, by his, your first order defendant, Sakuramura. That would make sense, yes. He was the first scheduled visitor, after all. But look at what he said before that. This journal may end here, or it may go on. It may go on. Sakuramura intended to write again. That is, if Sakuramura didn't pull the trigger. I see the defense understands the meaning of this. The victim's diary does not go on. It ends. Because Magnavi's life was brought to an end by the defendant, Sakuramura. Order! 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 Prosecutor Gavin. Are you certain that Sakuramura wrote this? There was no mistaking his handwriting. Well, this does seem to be significant. According to this, Magnavi did intend to include his diary. Continue. Yet, it is... if his diary ended here, which plainly it did, then the one who pulled the trigger was the first visitor. Sakuramura. Well, how do you like me now, Harai? Still too green for your tastes? He's right about the diary being pretty clear. Still, I find it hard to believe that he'd overlook such an obvious problem with this person's evidence. Well, Mr. Wright, the witness's testimony we heard was lacking. But put together with this evidence, it seems quite sufficient for a case. If the diary is accepted like this, the trial's over. Maybe it's time for me to show them something. I'm left with no choice but to show my own evidence. What? You have some evidence that overturns this diary? It's not too late to rethink this and avoid more embarrassment. Very well. Please show us your evidence, Mr. Wright. Incidentally, don't even think of showing us the diary I've just shown the court. Now that we've come this far, I hope you have something a little more decisive. Show us evidence that proves the victim continued writing his diary. Alright, I'd be happy to. Decisive evidence proving that this diary didn't end with this page is... notebook page... Is it just the text or yeah. Farewell. First, take a close look at this diary. Note that a page has been clearly been ripped out. What's this? I hadn't noticed that at all. How? How did you miss that? That's why we're still talking about this. As it just so happens, I have here what I believe to be the missing page. Alika, I don't believe it! Looking at this page, it's hard to imagine that the first visitor that night shot Sakuramura. That's the defense's position. Wait, let me see that! What in Sam Hill? Why, this is the continuation of the victim's diary. Note the torn edge of the page. It's a perfect match with the torn remains of the last page of Magnavi's diary. Quite remarkable. Would you care to explain what all this means, Herr Attorney? The diary continued after his first visitor came, which means that the victim was still alive after Sakuramura left, leaving no one to take his life but the second visitor. Valiant Grammari. No. No! The handwriting, too, matches that on the other pages. This is, without a doubt, the genuine article. Order, order, order. But wait, that's impossible! That old man couldn't have written that! Finally. You just couldn't resist, could you, Herr Wright? Resist what? Presenting solid evidence? Herr Judge? Yes, Prosecutor Gavin? Might I request to put the current cross-examination on hold? The prosecution would like to call a new witness. But Prosecutor Gavin! This evidence overturns the current witnesses. I ask only to put it on hold. Please. My new witness has a very, very important piece of testimony to give. 5 minutes. No more. I promise, Your Honor. Well, if you put it that way... Mr. Wright, what's your take on this? Well, Your Honor, judging from his enthusiasm, we'll have to hear this new testimony sooner or later anyway. So it might as well be sooner. Then, though this is highly, highly irregular, we will put the current cross-examination on hold. The witness may step down. Now, Prosecutor Gavin, please bring the surprise witness to the courtroom. Let's fucking go. I had a bad feeling just then. That ripped out page was too obvious. He must have known. And I should have known it was a bad sign all around. Holding trial with no audience is a first, even for me, Prosecutor Gavin. I beg the court's understanding. But I had to make a judiciary deal with the witness to secure his testimony. A judiciary deal? The details of his testimony may have some legal ramifications, shall we say. I thought it best to contain the information to this room. Very well. And you are the witness, I gather? Yes. Yes, sir. State your name and occupation for the record. My name's Drew Misham. I'm a painter. A painter? And you were somehow related to this case? No, well, not per se. I have one simple question for this witness. Mr. Misham, was it? Do you know what this is? Oh, yeah. I know it well. How's that possible? Have you seen this diary page somewhere before? Oh, yeah. I mean, I made it. You... what? You made it? Yes. You might call it one of my works. The Regional Prosecutor's Office received a tip-off yesterday. Illegal evidence has been prepared for the trial of Zach Grammar. Illegal evidence? I initiated an investigation and found this witness. A painter to the world at large, Drew Misham has another side, you might say. He is skilled in making perfect reproductions of certain things. Forgeries, in other words. Forgeries? Well, so we are to understand that this page here is a fake. Prepared by a certain defense attorney. Hold it! I didn't prepare this evidence! The attorney speaks. Something about this page, I presume, but what is he saying? It makes no sense. After all, it was you who presented this evidence to us, Phoenix Wright. Witness! Mr. Misham, was it? Who requested this forgery? Who was your client? That... I don't know. What? Most of my clients prefer to remain anonymous, even to me. I make the items they want and receive my payment. That's the extent of my contract with them. But there's no proof this is a fake. It's a fake. Huh? To avoid just this sort of problem, I always put a special mark on my works. I can say, without a doubt, this is mine. Mr. Wright, you have just presented illegal evidence to this court. My court. It was careless of me. That's all I can say. Oh, old boy! Here. What's this? I don't know. I just got it over there in the hall. And they told me to give it to the old boy in the blue suit with the spiky hair. They said it was really important. It was all a trap. A fatal trap. Mr. Wright? Yes. Do you have an explanation for yourself? If I did, would the court hear it? Probably not. Forging evidence is a serious crime. and presenting it in court is a serious mistake. A fatal mistake for an attorney. Fatal, too, perhaps, for your client, I fear. Tell me, what kind of defendant relies on forged evidence? The answer is quite clear. A guilty one. Your Honor, wait. I understand that presenting forged evidence in court is a serious crime, but you cannot hold my client responsible for actions I undertook as an individual. I am sorry, Mr. Wright. Your Honor. Another close call, I dare say. If the prosecutor's office hadn't received that tip-off, everything would have gone the way you wanted it to, yeah? I even gave you a chance. Too bad you decided not to think before embarrassing yourself. I see no need for further decision on this matter. Special witness dismissed. Mr. Attorney? Yes? Could I ask your name? Phoenix Wright. Mr. Wright. I have seen and studied many people, but none like you. I'll remember you, Mr. Wright. Okay. Though I deeply regret having to declare a verdict in this way, this trial is over. You have the right to find a new attorney and make an appeal. However, this court must... Your Honor? Yes, Mr. Zack? There is one thing I wish to make clear. Today, in this courtroom, you cannot declare me guilty. It is impossible. I'm afraid the defendant is quite mistaken. I most certainly have the authority to declare a verdict on you. Except, tell me, how do you plan on announcing your verdict when your defendant does not exist? Doesn't exist? What are you talking about? I am talking about this! Mr. Enigmar! The defense escaped! Find him, quick! Bailiff, close all exits from the building! On the double, he must not be allowed to escape! That day, in that courtroom, a miracle occurred. The defendant, Shitty Enigmar, aka Zack Gramurai, did not just escape from court. He literally, unbelievably, vanished. Right before the bailiff's eyes. No one ever saw him again, not since that day. This is the Gramurai miracle. Ah ha 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 ha. No verdict was declared. After all, the defendant didn't exist. And that's how it happened. The trial of magician Zack Gramurai vanished, along with him, for all eternity. The mysteries that remained behind were all solved, however. But not until 7 years later. That trial 7 years ago was the beginning of it all. This I know beyond a doubt. The mysteries of the past work their magic on the present. But you'll soon be finding all of this out for yourself. Which of Magnifi Grammarly's disciple pulled that trigger? Where did the vanishing defendant Zack Gramurai go? What dark truth lurks beneath the forged diary page? And what about the girl who was left behind? Oh yeah. The past left us these 4 keys to unlocking the truth. But that's not all. There are 4 keys in the present as well. And when all the questions have found their answers, the final trial will begin. But first, you must chase the truth through then and now. Think of it as a game. I, Phoenix Wright, will be your guide through this game. This presentation is like so overly dramatic, but it's still so cool to me. I like it. That terrible trial saw me present forged evidence. It ended, half finished, when the defendant vanished. What became of me after that? As your investigation proceeds, the answer will become clear. Oh, and one more thing. There's something I must tell you. As Apollo Justice has his bracelet, so, too, do I have my own weapon of sorts. My Magatama. What does it do, you ask? That I would have you see for yourself. Well now, shall we begin? Touch the arrow to switch between past and present. But let's begin 7 years ago, in the past. It was right after my last trial came to an abrupt end. Now that you know the game, let's play. Okay, that's how you switch. Yeah. Imagine if you pick this up as like your first Ace Attorney game. There has to have at least been one person in the world that played this one first. The nightmare trial was over. And the new nightmare of figuring out what had happened had just begun. I wanted to wake up, to walk away. But I figured I'm the only one who could do this, probably. And besides, I had plenty of time. Thanks to the Bar Association Review Board's decision. It's hard to work when your attorney's badge has been taken away. What strange sight doth mine eyes behold? Excuse me? Two men on either side of a single transparent plane came. And it seems fickle fate has switched sides, so to speak. The forger of fakes walks freely, while the innocent languishes within these plexiglass confines. There's been no proof that I forged anything. No proof that I took the life of my dear mentor. Yet, these chains cannot hold me for long. The stage awaits. And what, may I ask, awaits you? A little piano and a cold little hole in the wall. But since you are here, what shall we discuss? The shooting of Magnifique Grammar, for one. Who pulled that trigger, Valant or his partner Zach? His partner vanished before the answer could be found. If we're going to get any closer to the truth, this place is the place to start. I have to hand it to my partner. He knows how to make an exit. That's talent. Yes, he made my attorney's badge disappear, and he never touched it. Glory's spotlight always leaves someone weeping in the shadows. Yet his very disappearance is itself a revelation. Revealing what? Zach Grammar, I killed Magnifique. It's as good as a signed confession. That's certainly been public opinion's take on it. I grow tired of my cage. And the time of my release is near. I must go and prepare. Planning on jumping back into magic right away? As long as an audience awaits with bated breath, there will be Valant. And so? Yes. Now that my partner has disappeared, Magnifique's repertoire is mine. Valant Grammar has a jurisdiction to uphold. Is that true? Seen in this light, the trial was quite good for me. Quite good to me, verdict no. And you can't pay for that kind of publicity. The suspicion on you hasn't lifted entirely, Valant. After all, you received one of those letters, too. You were just as obligated to follow Magnifique's instructions as your partner. So I was, but only Zach Grammar I followed them. Let us not speak any more of who shot what. Now that my partner has vanished, the question is moot. I'm more interested in learning something else, actually. What might that be? I want to know what Magnifique had up his sleeve. How could he coerce you and your partner to kill him? The trick up his sleeve? Ha 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 ha. Perhaps you do not know. Know what? A great magician never reveals his secrets. Yahoo! I didn't think it would be that easy. The audience must remain forever in the audience, bathing in the reflected glow of the spotlight. My Magatama, one of my most prized possessions which I got during a certain case. It can show me the locks on people's hearts. And if I can unlock their hearts, they'll tell me their secrets. The Magatama starts it all, and the Magatama ends it. Back up to sleep. Excuse me, oh god. Flying by the seat of my pants on this one. There must be a path leading from the evidence to the truth. And that's what I'm going to find out. To ask someone to take a life, even one not long for this world, that's asking someone to commit murder. Yes, our mentor was fond of dramatic moves, and dramatic finales. And he got his wish. His life was taken. What weakness could be so powerful as to coerce someone to commit a murder? My guess is it was a matter of life or death. Care to explain? Your troop lived in a world of showmanship. The flashier the better. And flashy so often means danger, doesn't it? Let us make this as painless as possible. If you have proof of this danger, then show it. Wow, they let me keep all the evidence. Gun? Why, that's one of ours. Specially designed for your show, I gather. A single bullet, one shot. What are you suggesting? We are magicians, Mr. Wright, not murderers. I'm not crying murder, Mr. Valiant. I'm crying something far more tragic. An accident. Zack and Valiant's quick draw shoot 'em. How long has it been since those 2 shots last heard? Was the shoot 'em cancelled because someone might get hurt? Of course. What a reason could there be? Well, it could have been cancelled because someone had already been hurt. Fascinating, Mr. Faustian Forging Fiend. But tell me, what can you prove with a single pistol? Well, tell me what would have happened if there had been an accident. What if one of your bullets took a life on stage? The performance of magic is not concerned with what-ifs. It is concerned with precision. Precisely whom do you claim we shot? Looks like I've chosen the right path. Let's just hope he walks it with me. Life was sacrificed so that the show might go on. And this shows who it was. I love to see the Cyclops. What in the goddamn do I have? I don't think I have everything. I may not have enough evidence right now to pull this off. Maybe it's time to do a little more legwork. Alright. Boop. Didn't think I'd be back here for a while. Is he allowed in here? I didn't want to have to remember that day. Regret having to clear a verdict this way. Trial's over. When I came here on that fateful morning, I still had my badge, but now, like an amputated limb, I can still feel it itching. Where do I start? I don't even have the authority to investigate. Hey, you there, sir! Down on the hands! Floor on your head! Now, now, now! Well, what's the big deal? My ears! No unauthorized personnel aren't allowed in here. But that would mean all unauthorized personnel are allowed. Ugh! I just say it like it is, sir, and it's usually wrong. Thrown out of the precinct, lost my friends, my girl, and even my wallet. We've met before, haven't we? On a case 2 years ago? No recollection of that, sir! Huh? For me, working on a case is always in the present progressive tense, sir. There is no past, there is only now, sir! Okay, you're the bailiff, right? Yes, sir! Court bailiff Mike Meekins at your service, sir! I've asked to meet with the bailiff at this court who let the magician escape. Let me try to make this as absolutely clear as possible for you, sir! It was me! Sir! But you were a regular police officer once, right? Sometimes bad things happen to good people, sir. Something tells me it's a long story. Let's not go there. So, you were in charge of security at the time of the vanishing? I'm dying over here! Oh, it's a hard knock life, sir! Thrown out of the precinct, lost my friends, my girl, and even my wallet. Guess Guess I wasn't the only victim. God. Weekends. The last time we met, you were a police officer, right? In fact, you're still wearing your uniform. Sir, I wish I didn't have to tell you this. But last year, tragedy struck a rising star at the precinct. I lost my case files 4 times. In 3 days, they fired me! That takes real talent, actually. They don't know what they're missing. So here I am, sir, forced to start from square one, a lonely bailiff. But your uniform. I took it with me as a souvenir the day I was fired. That can't be legal. So, you were the one who let the magician get away that day? I'm dying over here! A star rises among the court bailiffs full of hope. Then tragedy strikes. Is there anything you can tell me about it? Yeah, a lot of Ace Attorney characters is like, oh, you, how I haven't missed you. About Sakurai's disappearance? Oh, the humanity! That's enough of that. Magician disappearance. Why, yes, I'd say it was around 2 p.m. when I heard a commotion in court. I opened the door to see what was amiss. The door slams open! Slam! And the guy's face is right there in front of my face! Face! Oh, wait, right of me. Face! So you saw someone suspicious coming your way? Yes, and I, being a bailiff of little standing, I gave chase. I chased that silk cat all the way down the hall, sir! I have a diagram of the court building here. Building. Aha! There's courtroom number 7. That's where I was, sir. I was by myself, not an area friend to call my own. Okay, and which way did Zach Ramray run after bursting through the courtroom door? He went up like this, and around the corner like that. So I, with no delay, ran after him with no delay. When I turned the corner, I saw the magic man run into the defendant lobby. Swiftly, I ran. Following him, I threw myself boldly into the room. Why, I remember like it was there, like I was right there, because it was lobby number 2, sir. You ran into this room? Huh. I don't see any place to hide in here. Believe it or not, sir, I don't believe it. Here, in this room, the magician, gone, vanished like a puff of smoke. Except there wasn't even any smoke. He was just gone. That's impossible. Yes, that word. Oh, how many times I have heard said that word. Even the sound of it causes me indescribable pain. I'm dying. I'm dying over here. Okay, I won't say it again. Promise. But you have to admit, it's difficult to vanish into thin air. Did you search the lobby? I searched. Why the pause? There was nothing here at all, sir. That's right, nothing was here, sir. How can he talk so loud and still be hiding something? Vanishing trick. So Zach was in this room when he vanished? Absolutely, sir. I saw him with my own eyes, sir. That red silk hat, that flowing cape, he ran right in here, right inside this room. Silk hat, cape. That's Zach, all right. But sir, look at that room. There's not a single piece to hide, place. Sir, there was nothing I could do, but nothing, sir. What about now? Have any ideas? Sir! Ideas about what exactly, sir, if you don't mind me asking? You've had quite a bit of time since then. Has nothing occurred to you at all? Do you have any idea what trick you might have used to disappear like that? Cyclops! I should have known. Yeah. God, the Cyclops are so cool. Disappearing trick. I'm still really sad that they didn't put the Cyclops in the anime. It would have been so good. I understand that it, like, brings it down to earth less, but it would have been so good. I can't remember, does Maya and Ko, do they still channel Mia in the anime? I don't remember if they do that or not. Okay, Mr. Meekins. What do you know? Spit it out. Hey! What's with the atmosphere in all of a sudden? You know something, and I'm going to find out what. Zach Gramway vanished from this room. How do you do it? Wait, no, they would have had to be able to still channel Mia and stuff, because that's how, like, Trials and Tribulations resolves. Yeah, so they still have that element. Why'd they remove the Cyclops? Wow. How, sir? Well, sir, I can't say as Sir! Why are you so nervous if you weren't hiding something? Well, sir, you see, at the time, sir, I was here, and... Listen! It was impossible! What could such a little girl possibly do, anyway? What did you just say?
Sir, did I just say something, sir? No, you screamed it through that megaphone of yours. There was someone else in that room, wasn't there? Sir, I'm going to have to invoke my right to remain in a state of not talking. It's okay, Meekins. You don't have to tell me who Zach's accomplice was. I know who was here in this courtroom that day. Child. Hey, she's 8. Sir! I've never seen that girl until just the other day. Mr. Meekins, I'm not buying it. Sir! That day she was here, in this room, sir. But he wasn't! You mean you chased her into this room, not him? Sir, in my days as a police officer, literally days, I learned a thing or two. Okay, just one thing, but it was how to not to mistake a girl for a 7-foot tall magician. 7 feet? Zach isn't that tall, is he? You have a point. I find it hard to imagine that anyone would mistake a little girl for Zach Grammar. But you saw something, and therein lies the trick. I think you know what it was, Mr. Meekins. Does this trick look familiar? Nope. They don't have enough evidence. Maybe it's gonna do a little more light work. Let's get out of here. Oh my. 2 weeks have passed since then. I called her into my office. Tracy, there's something we need to talk about. It's been 2 weeks since your father disappeared. We need to start thinking about your future. I, did some calling around. This is hard to say, but you have no living relatives. So, I was wondering if you wanted to stay with me for a while. Just until your daddy comes home. It won't be long. I hope. Of course, it's totally your choice. If you don't like it here, you can go wherever you like. I could look up some places you might like to stay at. This is so weird. Mr. Attorney, Daddy told me about you. He said I could trust you. Huh? Really? So, if I stay here, does that mean you'll be my family? Huh? I guess so? Getting weirder. Mr. Attorney? Actually, why don't you call me Nick? Or you can call me Daddy if you'd like. It doesn't have to be today or anything. Okay, say, Daddy? That was quick. Yes? I want to talk about how Phoenix just posits that and lets it be. I like him, dad guy. If I move here, I have to switch schools, right? And I was thinking, I haven't paid for lunches at my last school for a year. So thanks, Daddy! Oh, and this office? It's a little blah. A little color goes a long way, you know? Oh, and Daddy, you've gotten fired from work, right? Don't worry one bit. I'll work twice as hard. We'll make it through this. Tracy, how old are you? Oh, I'm 8. But don't let appearances deceive you. I'm a young professional. Stick with me and you'll be Stick with me and you'll do just fine, Daddy. Thanks. Why does it feel like she's already in charge? So, Daddy, you got fired from being a lawyer, right? You could at least kind of look aside or something when you say that. It's actually kind of hard for me, for Daddy. Oh, I'm sorry, Daddy. Wait, is that foolish pride? My other daddy always used to talk about that. Actually, that's pretty accurate. So here's my idea. We'll make a new office. Law just seems so stiff, doesn't it? And no one will be my friend at school that way. Well, that won't do, I guess. I just don't know how much... I don't know much about anything other than law. Or even much about law, if you were to ask some people. Maybe the problem is calling it an office. We should run an agency instead. You mean, like a talent agency? Forgive me for asking, but doesn't that require talent? You've got me, don't ya? I'm a professional. A professional? Yep. After all, I am directly descended from the famous Zach Grammar. directly descended. He's your father. Oh! And now I'm directly descended from the famous Phoenix Wright, too! I think an 8-year-old just massaged my ego. Whoops, shit! Could you tell me a bit more about your daddy? Or is that Grandma? Daddy? Sure thing, Daddy! Which daddy was that again? Daddy's so amazing. The biggest star of True Grammar, and they're big! The Grammarize. They were on television a lot. I haven't seen them on much recently, come to think of it. Big magic happens when you put Zack and Val and Grammar together, you know? Once they made a giant waterfall right there on stage! And this giant trout swam up this giant waterfall! Let me guess, there was a giant fisherman waiting for him at the top? I wish I could have seen more of Daddy's magic. I shouldn't have brought it up so soon. I wonder what'll happen to me with Daddy and Mommy both gone. Mommy? Yeah, what about Mommy? I haven't heard anything about Trucy's mother. Didn't you do research for her living relatives? But I have my magic, and a great daddy, even if he's unemployed. You know, I think things are gonna be okay. I wonder if she'll talk about her mother. So, Trucy, you're a professional? Yes, it's like that thing they say. Baby frogs grow up to be frogs? They say that? I always thought it was funny, though. What was? Aren't baby frogs called tadpoles? Maybe they thought it would be easier to understand that way for kids. How stupid. Right. So, in conclusion, you're a professional magician, Trucy? That's right. Well, want to see a trick? You're gonna do a magic trick? Please show me. Actually, I would like to see your trick. The future of the agency depends on it, after all. That's the spirit! Ready? Here goes! Ta-da! Hey, folks, it's Mr. Hat. I gotta say, it's good to be seen. Ah! Whoa, that was startling. The amazing Mr. Hat! Isn't he great? Your friendly neighborhood Mr. Hat at your service. He certainly makes an impression. Doesn't he? I'm so glad you like him, Daddy. Though my routines do get a bit heady at times. Haha, get it? Heady! My friendly neighborhood Mr. Hat nearly gave me a heart attack. Wow, the neighbor's dogs are going hog fucking wild out there. Could you tell me about your mommy, if it's okay? Mommy was so pretty. She was like an angel up on stage. On stage? You mean with your daddy? Yep! She was always there with Zack and Val and smiling. But then she went away. Went away? It was a grand illusion, but she made a mistake. She vanished, and I guess she didn't know how to get back. Maybe so. I cried then, a lot. That's when Daddy gave me this. Here. This is your mother? She's beautiful. Her name's Thalassa Grammari. Poor girl. I didn't know her mommy had gone missing. You researched her relatives! And now her daddy's vanished too, right before our eyes. Hey, Daddy? You won't... Don't worry. I won't vanish, I promise. Right! You can't even do magic. You're like a backup plan. Daddy always had to have a backup plan. I guess all I rate is as a backup plan. I think that's probably enough for today. Sorry to ask you so much all at once like that. That's okay. After all, we're family. I just hope you're ready. The Right Talent Agency opens tomorrow. This is Mother. She has 8 pixels. What? But are we representing anyone? Me and you. That makes 2, Daddy. I think you need more than that to make an agency. Besides, you may be a magician, but I'm no talent. Oh, I'm sure there's something you're good at. Well, when you put it that way. You don't have any tricks? No old standbys? This will not do! A boy should always have a trick or two in his pocket. Okay, I'll think of something. That's the spirit! See you bright and early tomorrow, Daddy! Welcome to the team, Daddy-o! The team. Right. Sometimes when magicians vanish, they leave something behind. That's how Tracy became Tracy Wright, my daughter. To be honest, I was pretty lost those first few days. Thinking back on it, it was a pretty dark time in my life. But Tracy, happy, smiling Tracy, she was my light. That line always makes me want to fucking cry. Hermikins. Oh, my eyes sting. Come here. Oops. Okay, Mr. Meekins. What do you know? I'll probably, I guess unless I get tired before then, go until I hit 3 hours, so whenever 3 hours happens on this shit. Actually, maybe until I finish up the past stuff. She was his light! Oh right, you have to do this all in order. I forgot how these work. Circle. There's a trick. I think I know what I think you know what it was, Mr. Meekins. Tell me, does this trick look familiar? Mr. Hat. What's that? That girl's favorite trick, the amazing Mr. Hat. She uses it in her show down at the Wonder Bar. Have you been to the Wonder Bar? Sir? It wasn't a waking dream, was it, sir? Come again? That night, on stage, I saw a vision, except it wasn't a vision. It was a hat. An amazing Mr. Hat! He really exists! I remember it clearly, though the details are a little vague. Sakurai exited the courtroom. I gave chase and cornered her in the corner of the room, sir. Sakurai, don't even think you can escape Meekins! Down on your hands, floor on your head! Hello? Something the matter, mister? No, that is... Sir, I'm currently chasing the suspect, sir. Sakurai, do you know him? Oh, I love Sakurai! His magic is the best! I'm his biggest fan. I see. That's why you're wearing that costume you're wearing. Anyway, that very same Zack came into this room. But no one's been in here except me. But he has to be in here somewhere. Under the sofa, in the trash can, behind the painting, under the rug. So, Tracy was his accomplice. Imagine my astonished surprise when, 1 week later, I just happened to walk into a bar and see him, Mr. Hat. I couldn't believe my own eyes. For a while, I thought it had been a long dream. A dream that lasted a week? But it wasn't the magician who disappeared. It was Mr. Hat. Oh. Though it seems complex, what really happened that day is quite simple. We were standing by the door and out came Zack. But that wasn't all. Another person got in on the act, and she was standing in the front of lobby number 2. I love that her hat is smaller. Along with Mr. Hat. And that's the beauty of it, isn't it? So, while you were standing in shock and amazement, the magician rounds the corner, and most likely runs through the closest door into lobby number 1. This is where you come in. You turn the corner in rather lukewarm pursuit, and at that very moment, Tracy runs into lobby number 2. Then, all she has to do is tuck away the amazing Mr. Hat. Sir, I only lost sight of him for the briefest of moments. Then I saw that cape! That grandma's red cape fluttering like a cape! Astounding, sir! All my days of poising queries and making inquiries and chasing quarries, wasted! It was as if I could see them melting away like an ice cream cone left by the side on the road to die! On the scattered remains of a messily eaten chocolate parfait! Such sweet sorrows. I'm sorry. I had no idea how much you'd suffer on account of this case. It's an honor, sir! I've apologized to people many, many times, sometimes more than once. But this is the first time anyone's ever apologized to me! Actually, about that girl, I'm sort of regarding it now. Is that so? Sir, you should know that I harbor no ill feelings whatsoever in my harbor. Okay. I'd let a defendant escape, that's a stone-cold truth. Just another step on my way from singing the blues to wearing the blues. Someday, sir, I'll be standing side by side with the great Detective Gumshoe! Mr. Meekins? This is a free ticket to the show at the Wonder Bar. If you want, it's an honor, sir! Sir, I can't count the number of things I've had taken away from me, sir. But no one's ever given me anything for free! Right, I'll see you in court next time, sir. I look forward to it. All eyes were on Zach Grammer that day in court, until his mysterious disappearance. Now part of the mystery has been revealed, but the magician remains out of sight. It would be 7 years before I met him again. Studio. Oh god, it's making me go to the present. I wonder if you can do all of these. I mean, I know that you have to go back and forth, but... Wow, it looks like shit in here. Damn bitch, you live like this? I figured you'd come here sooner or later. I decided on sooner. Your mission, was it? I haven't done anything illegal. And I didn't come here to whine about past events. I wanted to ask you some questions. I suppose you have that right. That day, the entire court descended into chaos. Only you stood still, your eyes calmly watching. I admit, it made quite an impression on me. I'm used to finding myself in outrageous situations. Phoenix Wright, was it? I'll answer what I can. I'm not sure, but it feels like I'm being watched intensely. Look at her. Ah, this is my daughter. Vera, say hello. She's gone. Shall we begin then? Judging from this place, you're a painter? Not, sadly, a profitable one. I've never sold a painting. It's a source of considerable embarrassment. I would be able to get by were it only me. Your daughter? Her mother grew weary of me and left. I don't want her to grow up needy, Mr. Wright. That is why I began my other occupation. Forgeries. Don't look at me with those eyes. I know what it is that I do. More than half of the paintings they bring me are stolen. And who knows what my copies are used for. But some of your works aren't paintings, correct? You may not believe me when I tell you this, but that was my first work outside painting. What? To think it would be used as evidence in a murder trial. I never even imagined the possibility. Then why did you take the job? I was well paid. Very well paid. I think he feels worse about it than I do. The past is hard to escape. Honestly, the sooner I can put this behind me, the better. With apologies to you, of course. Sorry, but it's not going to be quite so easy. He's trying to forget what he made. Looks like I'll have to remind him. Your work. Don't try to pretend you've forgotten. Sure, all you did was make a copy. But that copy might have destroyed the life of an innocent man. I'm responsible too, which is why I have to know. And you have to tell me. I knew it would be difficult to escape this. Then, let's talk. Well then, ready to tell me about this work you did? It was unlike anything I had attempted before. I guess it would be a little different from paintings. That is not what I mean. In all my previous work, it sufficed to create a copy. This wasn't a copy? The client gave me two things that day. The first was a sample page, as reference. The second, a printed document I can only surmise was written by my client. So you used the real writing as a reference to reproduce what the client wrote? Yes, as I said, it was my first job of that nature. So, who was your client? As I said in court, I do not know. Really? Even for such a suspicious request? If it was me, I'd want to know as much as I could about the requester. I never met them. Not personally. You. Ah, a psych lock. Of course. Seems like you're still hiding something. Something about this work. Can I see people? Shit. Okay, I'm pretty sure I don't have everything for that. If I just had to take a guess. Let's skedaddle into the future. Fucker. I'll be taking my leave now. Still have some work to do back at the office. And I guess I'll go back to my piano. To be honest, it's better when you aren't playing. This frigid culinary dungeon almost feels comfortable. Later, then. 2 hours left of my shift. Wonder if we'll get any customers tonight. Do you know who I am? Hi, fucker! Who I am? No, but if you hum it, I can play it. Just kidding. I don't do requests. How about a different sort of request? You see, I play cards. Oh, a customer. I was just hoping someone would come in and save me from a night at the Keys. I seek a true competition. I have heard the Borscht Bowl Club is the place for this. Now I see the rumor is true. And this is a friend of yours? Ah, don't mind me. I'm just your friendly neighborhood newsman. I don't want to see him. He will not be playing tonight. When his business is finished, I shall send him home. This competition will be between us, no others. The Right Talent Agency represents 2 artists, and I'm number 2. I play piano. Well, sort of. It's actually just a front for my real talent, which is playing poker. Don't ask me how I got started. I don't remember. But I'm good. Real good. It didn't take long for the rumors to get around. Go to the Borscht Bowl Club if you want a real game. That guy's never lost. People don't come to hear me tickle the ivory. They come to watch me play cards. Is this a seedy poker club? No, it's a restaurant. We don't play for high stakes. There's no money involved. But real players carry cash, and they're always thirsty. It's a handy source of income for the club owner. Then, let's compete. I'll take you to the room. The hideout, yes. But before we go... Yes? Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Shady Smith. Oh, and I'm Brushel. Spark Brushel, news reporter. Oh, I'm... No. Phoenix Wright. Huh? You must always look a man in the eye when you make your introductions. You still do not know who I am? Have we met? Ah! Fucker, bastard, fucker. You can't be, but you're... Zack Ramurai? Yes, the reincarnation act of the century. Pity I have only an audience of 1. You. Zack Ramurai? This must be a bad dream. In a sense, this guy ruined my life. You there? We will play soon. Ready the room. I will be preparing hideout for you. Are you really him? The Zach Grammar? Now I'm Shitty Smith. Remember this. How many years has it been now? 6? In exactly 3 days from now, which will be 7. I caused you much inconvenience, I fear. Yeah, you could say that. Is she well? Trucy, I mean. She's fine. I've got her working already. Hope you don't mind. I hardly need to express my gratitude, but you have it. This is why I have come. That, and to settle a matter of cards. By which you mean poker? His eyes, he's serious. I despise losing above all else. And so I have decided that I will win tonight, no matter what it takes. I know this guy's type, and they're dangerous. Everything's about the competition. All else is secondary. Perhaps we should take this time to talk before we play. I know you have much to ask me. And I, you. We competed that day 7 years ago, too. Ah, yes. You must have been surprised. Called to the detention center out of the blue. 2, 1. Shoutout time. I lost. It's only a game of poker. I've played for a long time. And only lost twice. It was the first. The man I killed, of course. You choose your defense attorneys by playing poker. Some are hired, some are fired. When you compete, you see the man's true nature. You know what I speak of. I know that you do. Trucy's power? Trucy? She is in a class of her own. For 7 years, I've played poker here at the Wash Ball Club. And I've never lost once. I'm good, but not that good. I win because whenever there's a big game, I bring in Trucy. And she sends me signals. Daddy, he's got a good hand. You might have a chance if you act quick. Better call him soon. Can you tell me what her power is? Judging a person's thoughts by reading actions is a staple of performance magic. But those of Trucy's line possess far greater skill. Her line? Recall, you were the second man to whom I've lost. Magnifique Grammari. That was the first time I learned of this power, as you call it. Wait, so you're saying her power is genetic? It's just in the Grammari blood or something? Blood. I am sorry, but it is not something something told lightly to outsiders. And it is nothing you need to know at this time. Some kind of Grammari secret, then? Fine. She's 15 this year? She's still trying her best to follow in your footsteps, you know. I see. Then, when I planned my disappearing act, it was the thought of her alone that gave me pause. Wait, you were planning on vanishing from the get-go? Yes, and for that, I must apologize. However, I could not be found guilty that day. Because of this. This? A transferal of rights. You see the signature? A transferal? That's Magnifique Grammari's signature, isn't it? I hereby give all rights to the secret staging and performance of my magic to the recipient named below. And the recipient's name is you. Is that Grammari? Yes, that is I. Wait, this page looks torn. You recall the diary, yes? Take a close look at this diary. Page. How could I forget? That scrap of paper lost with my attorney's badge. This is the real page that was torn from the book. Magnifique gave it to me that night. You could have told me this earlier, like 7 years earlier. Once again, I must apologize. It was all I could do to prepare for my escape from this courtroom. That, not this. The greatest of Magnific Grandma's illusions are true art. As such, they are well protected by this document. Only its bearer may perform its illusions on stage. Sounds like a pretty important thing to have if you're a disciple. As the rightful heir to his art, I, too, wanted a rightful heir. Rightful? I'm sure you know who I choose as my successor. Your daughter. That is why I have risked all to come here tonight. Brushel. Sir! Ah, here you go. What's this? A letter passing the rights I have inherited to Trucy. I would have you sign here as a witness. But I'm not a lawyer anymore. And you need a public notary besides. Ah, I may not look it, but I'm a certified notary. You are? By day, I wear a notary's glasses and hunt for news. Also by day, I wear a reporter's glasses and notarize. When I take off the glasses, I can't see very well. Your signature, please. This is the first reason I have come here tonight. Ah, I've finally figured it out. Now I know you've come out of hiding only now. It's been 7 years, you said. Precisely. There's a law that covers your situation. After 7 years, missing persons are considered to be legally deceased. So if someone was to vanish from the face of the earth 7 years ago, they would lose all rights as a living person after 7 years from that day. Not to mention all of their possessions. Exactly. Which is why I'm here. I risk showing my face in public for the sake of this document. Before my 7 years are up. You might say, I'm securing my daughter's inheritance. But do you really need this document? Wouldn't Trucy inherit your estate automatically? Not in this case, I am afraid. This case? Yes, I received the performance rights from Magnific Grammari. However, this was done in secret without witnesses. Before Magnific died, excuse me, sorry, 2 potential successors to his repertoire were named. Myself, Zach Grammari, and Valiant Grammari. Not Trucy. I see. So you do need this document. I have known Brushel since before I vanished. He is a man I trust. Now, only 3 know of my rebirth. I took the liberty of looking into Trucy's background, and found you had no other close kin. It is as you say. Okay. I was kind of hoping you'd say something about the mother at this point. I know everyone else, but Trucy's mother is a mystery. Yeah. Okay. I don't think I can do- whoop. Shit. Eh. I don't think I can do the secret yet. I mean, maybe I can. No. I think I have to do that. I have to know more about this power of Trucy's. It's like she can see right into people's minds. The first time I saw her do it, it blew mine. And after you were done having your mind blown, you took her to play cards with you. Gotta use the resources at hand, I always say. Yet, I myself has no such power. But Trucy does. Why is that? Maybe Trucy got her power from her mother? Thalassa Grammari? I will not speak of that! Thalassa is officially missing, correct? And I think I know why you don't want to talk about her. Pocket? No. It's true I do not wish to talk of her. Now there's another I could care less about. You. Ah. Take care you do not end up missing yourself. Don't fucking threaten my life. I know why you don't want to talk about her. Oh, gun. The 3 of you were a team once. Not that the entire country doesn't already know this. At your peak, you were the biggest stars around. Yet, there's another story behind the fame. One that not many know. Thalassa lost her life during a rehearsal. To you and Valiant Grammari's bullets. It was an accident! It wasn't me! How could I shoot my dear Thalassa? I'm sure Violet would say the same thing. Why, it's just like another murder I might mention. Damn you! Her eyes. I loved Thalassa's eyes. To think they could read my mind was frightening. Yet there was a warmth in them that felt like an embrace. She is dead, and Magnifique Grammar has joined her. So the only one with her power left now is Trucy? Mr. Zack? I do not know. I don't need any power to see through that one, buddy. So there's someone else. Someone other than Trucy. Someone who inherited Thalassa's power. Ha! Ha! How would I know? Chances are slim. It would take a miracle to learn the truth. Or maybe one has already occurred. There's someone else with the power, and I know who. Fucked. This boy? His name is... I forget. Something weird. Who could he be? An attorney. Attorney? I noticed him when I went to visit a friend's law offices. So, what are we to make of this, oh great ex-attorney? You can show me pictures of strange boys all you like. me sending new boys to have problems about to my friends. But you could at least say something like, I'm this boy. I could use a laugh. Perhaps you wouldn't laugh if you knew the facts. This might not be 100% proof, but it's close. There's a link between this boy and Thalassa. Actually, it's more of a ring. A ring? Perhaps this will refresh your memory. I just so happen to have evidence showing this missing link. What are you fucking talking about? This? Hang on, let me check it. Oh, you're not gonna let me open it? Shit, okay, I'll just guess. Wahaha. Mr. Zack? This face is your response, Mr. Ex-Attorney? You did say that I wouldn't laugh if I knew the facts, right? Yeah? Okay. Few magicians will tell you they're going to produce a dove, then take off their hat. It's almost more effective to not reveal your hand in advance, Mr. Wright. Which I've just done, clearly. The question is, do I have a trump card in there somewhere? I don't think I do. Yeah, I don't have whatever this is, I don't think. I don't have enough evidence. Maybe it's time to do a little more legwork. Okay. Let's go to the past. No. Your studio. No, wait, I didn't mean to actually activate that. Because I think I know what I need for that one. Single bullet, one shot. What are you suggesting? We're just not murderers. Something far more tragic, an accident. Was the shooting cancelled because someone might get hurt? Of course. What other reason could there be? Well, it could have been cancelled because someone had already been hurt. Fascinating. My Faustian forging fiend. But tell me... Actually, was it fiend or friend? I don't know. But tell me, what can you prove with a single pistol? Well, tell me what would have happened if there had been an accident. What if one of your bullets took a life on stage? Horrors of magic is not concerned with what-ifs. It's concerned with precision. Precisely whom do you claim we shot? Looks like I've chosen the right path. Let's just hope he walks it with me. Life was sacrificed. Lockhart. But that's... Zack Garmrai's wife, and Trucy's mother. Thalassa, I believe, was her name. Ah! Alakazar! But how can you say this? How can you say she was struck by one of her bullets? Still in denial mode, eh? Thalassa was at the greatest risk of being shot, and this clearly shows just how much danger she was in. What the fuck are you guys talking about? Okay, I'm actually gonna look this one up to see if I can do it. Nope, shit. Shit! I forgot you can examine in these. Maybe I'll just settle on over here for a closer look. That's an awfully small frame. What's that inside it? A stamp? Please don't touch that. I'll get in trouble. That stamp belongs to Vera, you see. She always puts it somewhere she can see it. Trip concept art. That's Zack and Valen, the Grammarize, isn't it? The post office issued that commemorative stamp last year, when the Grammarize were at the height of their popularity. Not anymore. Now that one of them has vanished off the face of the earth. Vera went to see one of their shows when she was quite small. She's been a dedicated fan ever since. She watched them every time they came on TV, until the end. I see. That stamp's quite hard to come by, I hear. I still wonder how she got her hands on it. This is you and Vera? Yes, we took that one quite recently. I know, I'm a painter. Why not paint a portrait instead? I've never been that good at people, unfortunately. Right. Shouldn't you practice? That's a pretty bottle. I feel like this shit would topple over this bottle. Don't touch that, please. I'll get in trouble. Huh? It belongs to Vera, you see. She always puts it somewhere she can see it. She looks at it often. There's some light pink fluid inside. Nail polish, I'm guessing. What's this red envelope? Don't touch that! That's, it's quite important. Painter's face has changed hues. Guess I'd better behave, though it's tempting to just grab it. What the fuck? Sorry, I'm following the walkthrough. This person in the photo is Tracy's mother? How did you come by this? Tracy showed it to me. She said her mother was gone. Then it is so. Huh? She is gone. What more is there to say? Lots? I know. Whoa, you're still here? According to my in-depth research, Tracy's mother, Magnifi Grammari's only daughter. End quote. What? Magnifi's daughter? Is that true, Mr. Zack? Rachel, you say too much! What? Why am I the bad guy? Why? Zack decked him. In any case, Mr. Wright, this discussion is over. That's a Grammari. She's the most mysterious of the whole lot. I need to gather more evidence, clearly. Well, the prelude may have been longer than the main attraction. Shall we begin our game? My final competition? Final? Why? As you said, I have come out of hiding today to make this document legally binding. Once that is done, I shall slip once more underground. Without seeing your daughter? It would be best if I did not. 7 years ago, we played. 7 years ago, I lost. I already lost to Magnifi. I do not care to lose it to another. But I have heard that you never lose. It's just a rumor. Yes, for it is impossible to never lose, unless one has an ace up one's sleeve. As a magician, it causes me no end of irritation. To think a mere lawyer might be out there pulling the wool over so many eyes. Hey, I just signed your document for you. Maybe you could try lightening it up? That was that. This is this. For my final competition, I will destroy your perfect record, Phoenix Wright. This will be my final performance. You're warned. This guy's beyond serious. So much for a fun evening of cards. Marshall, you may leave. Ah, but it's your last game. I mean, what a scoop. I punch and I punch, but still, it is not enough. I just remembered a future, prior engagement. Excuse me. Toodles, gentlemen. Oh, and nice meeting you, Piano Man. Then let us begin. Dealer? Huh? You'll be witness to our competition. Ah, it is honor for me. Huh? Why haven't I seen her around here before? Ah, that reminds me. I saw familiar face as I entered the restaurant. He did not seem to notice me, however. Hmm? Gavin, I believe was his name. You know him? After a fashion? Listen, Phoenix Wright. One can learn much from a true competition. Remember this. I didn't get your sight locks though, did I? Grammar power. I was close to understanding it, but I needed more. Oh, okay. And I knew where to get it. Trucy's mother. I need to meet that reporter again, that was clear. And one other thing. From the moment my final competition with Zach began that night, a name was running through my head. The name of a man now in prison. A name Zach Grammar knew. But how? And why? Okay. With that... Actually, can I leave? Minute at least? Oh god. I don't... Hang on. Shit. Okay. I'm just gonna... I'll deal with saving this later. I'll figure it out later. I forget every single time. But yeah. That will be that for today because I'm tired. But yeah. Fun return to Ace Attorney. I will hopefully play again next week, and soon enough we'll be putting a lid on this, and then I can move on to other games that aren't Ace Attorney. It makes me so tired. But yeah, thank you everybody thank you everybody who came, even if you didn't chat. Thank you to anybody who watches the VOD, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye!